Set to check in, loves the action.
We gotta watch this again, maybe twice. The separation on the step back, the lefty pull-up. CC loves it.
You knew something wild was coming, but nobody expected what went down on June 7th. The Indiana Fever walked into Chicago missing their superstar, Caitlin Clark. The crowd was buzzing, the doubters were loud. Everybody wanted to see if Indiana could survive without their leader. On the other side, the Chicago Sky were hungry, desperate to flip the script and finally get some payback. What happened next? Nobody was ready for it. From the opening tip, it was clear. This wasn't just another regular season game. Lexi Hull exploded onto the scene and setting the tone with pure intensity. Angel Reese tried to answer, but every time she touched the ball, Indiana's defense closed in and the frustration started building. The Fever's bench was electric, feeding off Caitlin Clark's energy as she fired up her teammates from the sideline like a general orchestrating a war. This game turned into an instant classic, one that left Fever fans celebrating and the Chicago Sky searching for answers. What really happened on that court? Buckle up, because this one was pure chaos.
The Indiana Fever beat the shit out of the Sky so bad, Caitlin Clark looked like she was legitimately bored out of her mind. This was domination. And this Chicago Sky team is not even close to the Fever.
Take away Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and head coach Stephanie White from the Indiana Fever, and you'd expect the team to crumble. At least that's what Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky thought. With Clark sidelined and the Fever's bench looking thin, Chicago was practically counting this one as a win before the opening tip. The vibe around the league. Easy night for the Sky. Nothing but a formality. But sports never follow the script, and what happened next shocked everyone watching.
No Caitlin Clark, no problem. No Sophie Cunningham, no problem. No head coach Stephanie White, have no fear. The final boss, Austin Kelly, is here. The Chicago Sky, we came into your building and we just, from pillar to post, smacked you guys around.
The script flipped fast. Last night at the legendary United Center, the Indiana Fever didn't just survive, they absolutely dominated. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire with 17 points. Lexi Hull continued to look unstoppable, and new addition Ari McDonald took control of the offense like she'd been there all season. Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard backed them up, turning the paint into a no-go zone for Chicago. By the final buzzer, the Fever had blown out the Sky by 27 points on their home court, leaving Angel Reese and her crew stunned in front of their own fans. It was the kind of win that silences every critic and sends a message. Indiana is way more than just a one-star squad. If you're riding with the Fever, now's the time to say it loud. This team is for real.
So there's a lot of fun stuff that I do want to go over with you, like how Caitlin was kind of trolling Angel, I think.
Angel Reese is a terrible basketball player. She has regressed as a player. Her decision-making is equally as bad. Her defense is now non-existent. She's gotten worse at scoring layups. She's worse at finishing through contact. She's more hesitant to shoot the ball. She now has eliminated the mid-range from her game. She's eliminated so many of the good parts of her game.
They aren't an even match anymore, so I don't know if this is still like necessarily a rivalry.
Imagine walking into the United Center, a massive, historic arena known for NBA battles, already feeling the weight of recent losses. Your franchise superstar, Caitlin Clark, is stuck on the bench with a quad injury. Sophie Cunningham, the fiery spark off the bench, is out too. Even the head coach, Stephanie White, is missing for personal reasons. For the Indiana Fever, this game looked like the definition of no chance. The odds were stacked, the doubters were loud, and this was supposed to be a blowout for the Sky. Instead, it set the stage for one of the most jaw-dropping upsets of the year.
Okay, for Steph. Another one. No.
The Chicago Sky were also trolling Caitlin Clark a little bit because they spelled her name wrong on the Jumbotron. Who doesn't know how to spell Caitlin Clark?
This was the ultimate test. No star power, no familiar voices leading the charge. Just a hungry squad and a stadium full of doubters. With Caitlin Clark sidelined and Stephanie White suddenly absent, it felt like the basketball gods were stacking the deck against Indiana. Assistant Austin Kelly wasn't just handed the clipboard, he was thrown into the deep end, expected to swim against a tidal wave of noise in a packed United Center. For the first time, this legendary arena hosted a WNBA clash, and every fan in the house came ready for a rout. All eyes were locked on Indiana, waiting for the collapse. Instead, something completely unexpected started to bubble beneath the surface.
Yes, sir.
All right, great job.
Thanks, Daddy.
It started for us on the defensive end. We set the tone from the jump and never looked back. All right. Their starters, 8 for 29 from the field.
Hell yeah.
Hell of a job. Great attention to detail. That's less than 30%. We held them 32%.
You could feel the electricity even before tip-off. Chicago's crowd was hungry for payback, and Angel Reese's team wanted nothing more than to put Indiana in its place under the national spotlight. The talk was all about missing pieces and a lucky break for the Sky. The story had been written in pencil weeks ago. No Clark, no Fever. But sports aren't scripted, and what the Sky didn't realize was that sometimes stripping away the stars just reveals who's really got heart. Indiana didn't show up to roll over. They showed up to rewrite their reputation in real time. As the opening buzzer sounded, you could feel it in the air. Chicago expected a cakewalk, but Indiana was about to turn the narrative upside down.
52 points is the lowest point total that Chicago has had since 2011. So it's actually tied for the 5th lowest, apparently, in point total in team history in a regular season game. And the Indiana Fever has beaten the Chicago Sky by a combined 62 points in 2 games.
For Austin Kelly, this wasn't just a fill-in gig, it was a baptism by fire. One day, he's the behind-the-scenes thinker. The next, he's running the show in front of 20,000 buzzing fans. His every decision under the microscope. No safety net, no superstar bailout. The game plan might have looked familiar, but the energy was completely different. Every player had to own their moment. Here's the twist. Adversity doesn't always break a team. Sometimes it lights a fuse. Indiana could have panicked, but instead something fierce clicked into place. They didn't just fill the gaps, they started playing like they had nothing to lose, and that made them more dangerous than ever.
Austin Kelly filling in for Stephanie White. I got a feeling. Austin Kelly looks like a head coach on the side. Folks, there was none of this. Austin Kelly looked like the final boss on the sideline watching over the Indiana Fever team. His posture, his presence, yeah, head coach type stuff, you know what it is. The assistants standing up, giving me some energy, giving me some, yep, I liked what I saw tonight, folks.
Every team claims they're next man up when a star gets hurt, but most of the time, that's just talk. On this night, Indiana showed it for real. With the spotlight hotter than ever, Kelsey Mitchell stepped onto the floor knowing the world was waiting to see if she'd crumble or conquer. The pressure was massive. You could almost feel it pressing down with every possession. She'd had ups and downs all season, and now the challenge was simple. Be the anchor or watch the game slip away. Mitchell didn't hesitate. In the opening minutes, she attacked relentlessly, flipping the script before Chicago even realized the story had changed.
Well, Fever versus Sky isn't much of a rivalry, at least if you go by the results, because the Fever have dominated the Sky, and I guess you could say the Sky is falling, at least in the standings and around Chicago, considering the situation with the team.
From the very first whistle, the vibe was electric. Mitchell set the tone, moving like she owned the place. No hesitation, just pure confidence. She carved up Chicago's defense, found the open shooters, and scored when they needed it most. Suddenly, Indiana's offense wasn't stuck in neutral, it was roaring. But the real surprise came from the entire team buying in. Every pass was crisp, every cut had purpose, and the Sky looked lost chasing shadows. Mitchell's leadership was contagious. By the end of the night, she'd poured in 17 points and dragged the rest of the roster up with her. You couldn't script a better response to adversity. She played like a star who'd had enough of the doubters.
This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago. The winds off of Lake Michigan. Loses Atkins, step back mini, knocks it down. Oh, the connection to Howard. How about the finish from Mitchell?
And she may be the quickest guard in the league with the ball in her hand.
Here's Mitchell trying to attack Van Lith. Will slow it down a bit. This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago. The winds off of Lake Michigan. Timeout Sky as Indiana has built a 17-point advantage.
But the story didn't stop at one player. Lexi Hull continued her quiet rise, stepping up with ice in her veins. She drained every three she took, each one silencing the crowd and rattling the Sky's confidence even more. It wasn't just her shooting, it was her grit on defense, her energy on every possession. Hull played like the X Factor every championship team dreams of finding. All season, she'd been building toward this, and tonight, she finally broke through. With every make and every stop, Hull proved she wasn't just a role player, she was a difference maker, ready for the spotlight. Aaliyah Boston turned the paint into her personal playground, playing like a force of nature the Sky just couldn't solve. She finished everything around the rim, swatted shots left and right, and dished out dimes as if she was running the offense herself. You could feel her presence on both ends. The rebounds, the blocks, the relentless hustle. With every putback and perfectly timed assist, Boston reminded everyone why she's one of the most complete bigs in the league. On a night with stars missing, she looked like the anchor that kept the whole team steady. By the final buzzer, Chicago was outmuscled, outsmarted, and completely overwhelmed in the paint.
In the 3-game absence for Caitlin Clark, leads the league in field goal percentage and shows you right there.
The intentionality to get Aaliyah Boston the basketball.
Indiana didn't just rely on one hot hand. They played as a unit, moving the ball with precision and trust. The Fever racked up assists, swinging the ball side to side, never letting Chicago settle in on defense. Every player was involved, from the starters to the last off the bench. What started as a question of who's going to step up quickly turned into a showcase of depth. With the Sky scrambling, Indiana's supporting cast delivered clutch shots, tight defense, and unselfish plays. The difference was undeniable. This wasn't a team of spare parts, but a real squad, one that understood every single possession mattered, and that trust beats talent when the lights are brightest.
On the boards, all right, and they're a second chance points team, all right, and we won that area as well. Taking away their strengths was something that we did a great job of, all right? Okay.
Just extremely proud of y'all. We stayed locked in, we stayed together, we executed the scout at a very high level. Just multiple levels of effort. Everything that we've asked of you today, we put it in there, and from now, again, stacking days, building on those moments where we're stringing those possessions together, right? Building on those great possessions on defense and on offense. Great, hell of a job, y'all. High level. Good job, y'all.
And while the headlines usually go to the stars, tonight belonged to Aari McDonald, the afterthought signing who turned into a spark plug. Picked up on a hardship contract, nobody expected her to play hero, but McDonald grabbed the opportunity and never looked back. She controlled the tempo, broke down Chicago's guards, and set the tone on both ends. She attacked the rim with confidence, hit big threes, and frustrated the Sky with her quick hands and faster feet. In less than a week with the Fever, she looked like the engine the team didn't know they needed. Sometimes the biggest game changers fly under the radar until the spotlight finds them.
The Indiana Fever looked like a totally different team since Aari McDonald took over and started orchestrating for the team. Aari McDonald is a threat. She can score in the paint. She can score from outside of the arc. She's just a really great passer. This is the type of thing I think that they were envisioning when thinking of playing Caitlin Clark off ball, because she mentioned wanting to play off ball. This is something that she did do at Iowa.
Aari McDonald wasn't just running plays. She was rewriting the game plan. Every time Chicago tried to pressure her, she broke their press with confidence, found open shooters, and nailed momentum-shifting threes. Her quickness on defense turned steals into instant offense, rattling Chicago's rhythm and putting points on the board when the Fever needed them most. The box score couldn't capture the way she controlled the flow, making life easier for everyone else. On a night that demanded someone unexpected to rise, McDonald showed the league what next woman up really means.
Aari McDonald for 3, Owen McDonald had a Aari McDonald with a steal, Owen McDonald had a Aari McDonald drawing offensive fouls, Owen McDonald had a. Folks, what a glorious game. What a glorious game.
With McDonald at the helm, Indiana's offense looked completely transformed. Suddenly the floor was wide open. Mitchell had room to operate, Hull got easy looks, and Boston feasted inside. The Sky were left guessing on every possession, never able to predict who'd strike next. McDonald's versatility became the unsolvable puzzle, and Chicago simply ran out of answers. For the first time in ages, Indiana looked like a team with endless options, a nightmare for any defense and proof that depth might be their deadliest weapon of all.
But both teams facing a little bit of adversity, having certain players out or not at full capacity.
McDonald, a huge triple in the corner. Mitchell, patient in the corner, flips it up top. Boston, other side. McDonald, another three. I'm loving it.
Austin Kelly's post-game grin said it all. Tasked with his first ever head coaching challenge, he didn't just keep the Fever afloat, he turned them into a machine. The ball zipped around, the energy never faded, and the defense fed off every big offensive play. McDonald's IQ and hustle made her the surprise catalyst, and Kelly's belief in his bench paid off big. The real story wasn't about surviving without Clark or White. It was about a team that suddenly found out how much stronger it could be, even when missing the names on the marquee.
Big game, obviously you're stepping in for Steph, but what are the feelings coaching a game in this arena?
Oh, it's I mean, you grow up watching the Bulls and you see Michael Jordan's, jersey and Scotty's jersey sitting up there. It's a surreal moment, but I think the message for us is the same. We want to continue to build that consistency on both ends of the floor, and it's another opportunity for us to do that.
If you flash back to May, Chicago thought they'd use physicality to shake Indiana, but that night the Fever dropped a 35-point smackdown, with Clark tossing up a triple-double like it was nothing. Now, in the so-called revenge game, all eyes were on the Sky to flip the script. Instead, they walked right into another blowout. Indiana didn't just outscore them, they embarrassed them, holding Chicago to one of their worst shooting nights ever. The United Center, supposed to be a fortress, felt more like a haunted house by the fourth quarter.
The Dallas Wings must really, really stink, because those are the two wins that the Chicago Sky have this year, and the Fever have absolutely blown the doors off of them in their matchups this season, including this time around without Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese just 2 of 7 from the floor, only 4 points. She's shooting like 31% from the floor on the year. The Minnesota Lynx own the Chicago Sky's draft pick. It is rough sledding for the Sky.
The tale of this rivalry is right there in the numbers. A combined 62-point beatdown over 2 games. While Angel Reese and the Sky stumbled, Indiana looked unstoppable, moving the ball, draining threes, and running circles around Chicago's defense. Even without Clark, the Fever played with swagger, shooting the lights out and making every possession count. You could see the frustration in Chicago's body language. They knew they weren't just beaten, they were outclassed in every way.
She was minus 20. She's not had a game this year where the team is better with her on the bench than on the floor. Can we stop the myth that Angel Reese plays defense?
And Angel Reese tonight was in for 27 minutes. She scored 4 points. She got 2 assists.
Today was a disaster class. She has had 3 to 4 disaster class games this year.
The Sky's game plan crumbled early and never recovered. Missed shots, careless turnovers, and a total collapse under Indiana's pressure told the whole story. Angel Reese was held in check all night, her usual impact blunted by Indiana's wall of defense. The final whistle brought a wave of celebration. Austin Kelly got soaked by a giddy locker room, and even Clark, sidelined but cheering like crazy, couldn't hide her pride.
Lex, 500 points today. 750 rebounds. It just hell of the effort, y'all. I said I wanted y'all to make them feel us. They felt us. Yeah, nobody in there on their team had double digit scores. Oh yeah. That's the toughness piece.
"Get a water," she shouted, capturing the pure joy and unity of a team that just sent a message to the entire league.
Tyler Marsh, the coach of the Chicago Sky, says, "I don't think Angel struggled tonight. I think we struggled as a team. It's not about Angel being better for us. It's about us being better for Angel." Nobody scored in double digits on the Chicago Sky. I did not even know that.
Angel Reese right here. She was deep in the bag at this point right here. Oh. This is one of her go-to moves. Dribble. Let me throw it up, and no. That kind of tells you exactly how bad the Dallas Wings are. They got beat 2 games in a row by this Sky team. This Sky team is awful.
For Chicago, reality hit hard. They can't touch Indiana, no matter who's healthy. Vanderloot's early injury added insult to injury, and the Sky faithful watched their team unravel on home turf. But for the Fever, this was more than just a win. It was a proclamation. The depth is real, the chemistry is alive, and even with their biggest names out, Indiana has all the pieces to chase a title. Mitchell showed her leadership, Hull proved she's a go-to shooter, and McDonald's spark lit the fuse. The message is simple. This isn't Caitlin Clark's one-woman show. The Fever are here, they're deep, and they're only getting better. If you're not hyped after what went down in Chicago, you're missing out. Drop a comment, smash subscribe, and don't blink, because Indiana just changed the story for good.